All right, Cucks, we're getting ready for SummerSlam, which I believe is either this weekend or next weekend. Sometimes I forget what week we're on. I guess it's next weekend, right? So SummerSlam is coming up, and one of the two main events, and honestly, this might be the more compelling of the two, is Gunther versus Damian Priest. I say this because on the other side, you have Cody Rhodes, who, in my opinion, has had a shit title reign, and you have Solo Sikoa, who the last time he was in a title match was against Carmelo Hayes for the North American title, as far as I know, right? So there you go. Like, it doesn't make any sense, but obviously Cody Rhodes and Solo Sikoa are part of the better storyline because they actually have a storyline, so they're going to probably main event. But nevertheless, we cannot understate the fact that they're trying to push this World Heavyweight title as something that it's not, right? We have a guy who before this title was known for being only the United States champion, and we have Gunther who's known for being the Intercontinental champion, right? That's a big problem, you know? You want this title to get prestige by putting it on someone important, right? When the World Heavyweight title was introduced, because Brock Lesnar took the WWE title to SmackDown, they put it on Triple H. They didn't even need a tournament. They put it on Triple H, right? They put it on a guy that was established. He was already a multiple-time champ, and that he was entering his prime. Triple H was like in his 30s back then, right? They put the title on him because they're like, this guy can carry and elevate this title. And at the end of the day, if you tune into a pay-per-view and one of the main events, or the main event probably, is Triple H versus HBK, then that's it, motherfucks. That's it. You know, like, you know that this is an important title because HBK wants it, because Triple H has it, right? Now, in the context of the new World Heavyweight title, it's like, oh, nobody gives a shit about this title. Cody Rhodes specifically didn't want it, right? Seth Rollins specifically doesn't give enough of a shit because now he's like, you know, in a fucking, what's it called? In like a special referee position, right? I know that he can't, you know, Gunther as the next shot, but you know what I mean? Nobody seems to be angling for this title. Now, the bigger problem here, of course, are the wrestlers, right? While I can respect and appreciate the clear hard work that not only Damian Priest is doing, but that creative is doing to kind of distance Damian Priest from those jobbers, the Judgment Day, right? This is very clear. This is not by accident, right? Like, of course, they're trying to promote WWE 2K24, but they have those cucks, JD McDonough, the #1 stunner. They got Finn Balor, and they got Carlito, who are three dorks, basically, playing the game, while Rhea Ripley and Dominic, by extension, I suppose, and more important, Damian Priest, are out there doing big business, right? They're the ones who seemingly care about the Judgment Day, right? Finn Balor, Carlito, and fucking JD McDonough feel like the rascals, right? But that doesn't make any sense at all. Nevertheless, let's get to it. The point here is this, right? The other side of the coin is Gunther, right? One of you made a point. I keep comparing Gunther to Kozlov, but someone compared him to yet another character. Miro, also known as Rusev, right? And it got me thinking, holy shit, how have I not made this comparison yet? This is the perfect comparison, right? People got Rusev. Rusev was pushed as a monster heel, right? With a sick gimmick, right? Incredible presentation, and a smoking hot wife/manager who was playing the role of Bridget Nielsen from Rocky IV, right? This was amazing. You know, why reenact Rocky with like Gunther and Sami Zayn when you have Rusev, motherfucks? So this is how that went down. Gunther was essentially just plugged into the Rusev role, right? Even the Rocky situation, right? Imagine if, like, you know, Sami Zayn and Khadija, his wife, were the parallels of Rocky Balboa and Adrian, right? While Rusev and Lana were the parallels of Drago and Drago's wife, right? That would have made more sense. But now they don't have that, so they have to just give Sami Zayn this one-sided Rocky story. The story is just like, I can't beat this guy, so I'm going to pretend I'm Rocky for some reason. It's very weird and kind of honestly very stupid, right? But nevertheless, we're past that. Now we have just Gunther. And it got me thinking, right? Now, there's absolutely no way in hell that Gunther is better on the mic than Rusev, in my personal opinion, right? But, okay, fine. People might make the argument that early Rusev, who didn't speak English very well, that's another great example, by the way. Rusev came in speaking no English, now he speaks perfect English. Why can't Nakamura do that? Why can't fucking Kalisto knows English, but you know what I mean? Why can't Sin Cara do that, right? Why can't anyone do that, motherfucks, except for Rusev? And apparently Gunther, right? So the point is what the point is. Let's get to it right away, cucks. Gunther is basically a Rusev ripoff, right? Rusev, like I said, in my opinion, is better on the mic than Gunther, but reasonable minds can disagree. However, I don't think any reasonable person will ever disagree that Lana is better on the mic than Gunther, right? And she's better on the mic than Marcel Bartel or Kaiser Ludwig, whatever his name is now, right? She's obviously better on the mic. Lana would get these crazy reactions, insane heat. She was insanely hot, so you wanted to watch, etc., right? But nowadays, we don't have that, right? We basically have a watered-down version. Now, while Rusev never became World Heavyweight Champion, and it sure as shit looks like Gunther will be, that doesn't mean anything, right? Rusev got the main event, not main event, but like he was in one of the main matches. I won't say it's a main event because it's not, right? Against Cena at WrestleMania, where he came out in a fucking tank, all right? So Gunther's never going to achieve that level of success, in my personal opinion. And this make-believe Mickey Mouse title doesn't count either, right? But the situation begs a follow-up question, right? Well, why didn't they just do this with Rusev? Like, let's be honest. Rusev is better than Gunther in every possible metric, right? Like, neither of them is a good-looking guy, right? But at least Rusev has the hot-ass wife, you know what I'm saying? So he must be good-looking to her, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, Rusev is bigger. He is better in the ring. He is stronger. He would murder Gunther in a real fight, right? And he's got like this more foreign gimmick thing going, right? And for better or for worse, let's say it like it is, he is versatile, right? He is versatile to an extent, right? So even Rusev with Aiden English as Rusev Day, why didn't that get a chance, right? Now, I personally thought that Rusev Day was really stupid, but I think it's better than Gunther. Gunther is basically just another wrestler, right? So it's like, if you're gonna just pick someone and push them with the role and the gimmick of just another wrestler, like if you go to Gunther's Wikipedia, you see this like nonsense that's written down there in the first paragraph or two, right? It's like, Gunther, perhaps best known by his moniker, the Ring General. No, he's not best known by that. Nobody knows who the fuck he is, period. But if you go, like I guarantee you, if you go, let's go to like, I don't know, New York City. You ask 100 people in the street, when I say Ring General, what does that call to your mind? They'd be like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Hitler? That's what they probably say, right? They're like, I don't even know what you're saying, motherfucks. You know, nobody knows him, right? And then the next sentence on the Wikipedia, you can go check this out on yourself, guys, is like, this explains why his, like, moniker is Der Met ist Heilig or whatever, right? Which means the mat is sacred in German. Fuck out of here, you know what I'm saying? This is just another wrestler with no charisma, no personality, and no gimmick, right? So it's like you had Rusev, who had a personality, who had charisma, who had a gimmick, right? And who was better than him in every other way. So it's not like, again, it's just like my video about the Asians and the Latinos. I'm not saying that you need all of these factors, right? Because I never thought that Rusev should be a main eventer, right? But if now we're introducing main eventers like fucking Damian Priest and fucking Gunther, which I know they're not main eventers, like Gunther has yet to main event fuck all, right? But nevertheless, they're being presented as big deal champions, you know? Why not give that to Rusev, right? So everything that I've said about Kozlov, we can just superimpose Rusev on top of that, and all the facts stand, motherfucks. There is no distinction, really, there's no distinction between Rusev and Kozlov, right? Rusev is obviously a Kozlov ripoff, right? But they're just trying it again by tweaking it a little bit, right? They got a younger guy, they got a hot-ass woman that's gonna be his manager, right? They're going to spend a bit more money in pushing this guy forward. And as a result, we have a situation where Rusev gets over, right? They give him a monster run, etc. Now, I know that some of you who go on cagematch.com, you know that Gunther has probably lost like 3 or 4 times only in his entire WWE run. But so what, right? He never felt like a big deal. Gunther has never felt like this dominant force, right? And this can be blamed on the Intercontinental title, because as I've said many times on this channel, the midcard title is a hindrance, right? Like, look at Rusev before he won the US title. He was already massively over. They give him the US title, and the only reason they gave him that, right, was so that eventually he could pay off against Cena in like an America match, right? And before that, he had various other matches, relatively high-profile matches, against other prominent Americans, including the American Olympian, fucking Mark Henry, whom Rusev beat, and including the all-American Jack Swagger, who came out with a fucking University of Oklahoma band cheering him on, right? And even he couldn't get it done. So we needed to pull out Captain America himself, John Cena, right? With Gunther, like, just compare what I just said to what happened with Gunther. Gunther beat Chad Gable. Gunther beat like some other jobber. Gunther beat a few other jobbers that I can't even name. He probably beat Nakamura at some point. And then eventually lost to Sami Zayn. Compare the two, motherfucks. Compare the two. I think I rest my case. It's the exact same push. It's the exact same rise, right? But everything is just lesser than with Gunther. And despite the fact that everything, literally everything, is lesser than, Gunther is going to get the rub, motherfucks. And even if he doesn't this time, he's going to get it in Berlin for sure, right? There's two possibilities. Gunther wins, the likelier in my opinion, but the wrong choice also. Gunther wins at SummerSlam, or in my opinion, Gunther should lose in SummerSlam. He can get screwed, I don't care, right? I don't know what happened. Maybe the judgment screws him. And then Gunther turns face, right? This is what makes the most sense. Gunther turns face momentarily, right? And maybe Fabian Eichner comes back just for a one shot. I don't know, right? But Gunther then goes after the Judgment Day, culminating in a match in Berlin, which he is a citizen of Germany, even though he's Austrian, right? Culminating in a match in Berlin where Gunther, the hometown hero, essentially beats the evil bad guys called Judgment Day. This is a much better moment than having Gunther win in SummerSlam, which nobody gives a flying fuck about, and then have him come to Berlin as the champion and defend it against Sami Zayn, or who the fuck knows, right? And who the fuck cares, more importantly, right? Now, obviously, Gunther is going to main event the Berlin pay-per-view. I think anyone who's smart already saw that coming as soon as they announced there's going to be a Berlin pay-per-view after Gunther won the King of the Ring, right? So with all that being said, why not give Gunther his big moment there? At least do something with it, right? So that's what I think, actually, now that I'm talking about it, I think that's what's going to happen. And while that could be a good moment, it doesn't take away everything that I just said, which is that Gunther, at the end of the day, is a glorified Kozlov, and now, thanks to one of my fans, he's also a glorified Miro, motherfucks. Maybe they can paint Gunther's hair yellow and give him a shitty video game gimmick, right? But he's too serious and too, like, uptight to even play that, right? Gunther can only be Gunther, right? He's like this tight-ass dude, you know what I mean? Like, they asked him, like, how do you feel about the Wyatt Six, right? He's like, I'm more of a grounded person. I like that. Shut up. Like, just stop boring me to death, cuck. You know what I mean? And, you know, for all intents and purposes, there are plenty of things about Gunther that I get. I understand why people like him. I respect the fact that he, like, lost the weight and, you know, started getting shredded. But I cannot respect what doesn't entertain me, right? In the context of wrestling. As a man, I'm sure he's a great man, right? But as a wrestler, he's boring, motherfucks. And I also thought that Rusev and Kozlov were boring too. But they're better than him. And that's the point of this video, this rant, and any other Gunther-esque rant, right? The haters saw this coming, right? I knew that Gunther eventually would get pushed. Now, I was hoping it wouldn't happen, and I'm sure sometimes I said, this guy should never be WWE champion, and I still continue to believe that he will not be WWE champion, right? How was I supposed to know, cucks? Several years ago when I said this guy is going to be a jobber, right? How was I supposed to know they were going to hit us with a new bullshit title? We just had a new bullshit title called the Universal title that meant nothing until Brock Lesnar had it. You know, like, nobody gave a shit about the Universal title when Finn Balor and Kevin Owens held it. Like, that still feels like, that version of the Universal title feels like the Intercontinental Championship. Because it wasn't until Brock Lesnar, a real man, won the title that it got some prestige and it started main eventing pay-per-views. Ain't no way, motherfucks. Ain't no way that Kevin Owens is main eventing WrestleMania. Oh, but Hater, he did 2 years in a row. Not night 2, motherfucks. Everybody knows that there can only be one main event, and that is night 2. Believe me, I wish I was part of the one night main event crew, because AJ Styles is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time, and by that metric, he would be a main eventer at WrestleMania. But he isn't, motherfuckers. He isn't. Like, don't get it twisted. He isn't. It only counts if you main event night 2, right? That's it. That's it. The only exception I might be able to give is this WrestleMania, right? But that can't count because then Cody Rhodes main evented 2 WrestleManias. No, he didn't main event 2 WrestleManias, right? That's exactly the problem, right? If you main event both night 1, night 2, you main evented 2 WrestleManias. No, it's still one WrestleMania, WrestleMania 40, cucks. But, like, in a situation like that, you can make an argument, right? Because it's like the match with The Rock was just as important as the world title match. I mean, obviously it wasn't, but you know what I mean. It's just as big of a deal, right? And it has to happen on night 1 because it can't happen on night 2 for obvious reasons. So, but beyond that, I think it's fucked. So take that and do what you want with it, cuckolds.